You wake up to coughing. Not just one voice, everyone. The air in this tiny upstairs room is heavy, stale, clinging to your clothes like last night's perfume. You shift slightly and feel the sag of the mattress underneath you, thin and lumpy. Not much better than sleeping on the floor. You share it with another girl. Everyone does. There's no privacy in this place. No space that belongs just to you. Welcome to Virginia City, Nevada. Somewhere between the dreams of the gold rush and the dust of broken hopes, this is where so many women landed. Not in satin dresses with twirling feathers like in the movies, but here, in cribs the size of closets, with barely enough water to wash your face and nothing but a chipped basin to share between 6 girls. The Wild West wasn't wild because it was free. It was wild because it was cruel. And speaking of cruel, don't forget to subscribe to West Stories so you don't miss what comes next. This isn't the version of history you read in school. It's the one they tried to bury. A voice calls from the hall. "Rise and shine, ladies!" That's Rosie, madam of this place. Tough as rawhide but fair in her own way. She was once like you. Once slept in this same room with the same aching bones and same quiet desperation. Now she runs the house, still wears her corset like armor, but hers laces up with power instead of fear.
You sit up slowly, rubbing your eyes. There's no sleeping in, not here. Not when miners are finishing night shifts and heading straight to the saloon with silver in their pockets and fire in their blood. You've got maybe 30 minutes to wash, dress, and prepare yourself to look like a fantasy. You, the same girl who cried herself to sleep just 2 hours ago. Over by the window, Sarah's already up. She's 19, says she's from Boston. Doesn't say how she got here. None of the girls do. But you know the stories. Promises made and broken. Jobs that never existed, families that didn't care, choices that weren't really choices. "Pass the tooth powder," she mutters, reaching for a cracked jar filled with a salty, chalky mix. There's no toothpaste yet, not like the kind you have at home. Just baking soda, maybe a little charcoal. Good enough, because in this business, your smile is currency. It has to be clean, even if your soul isn't. Downstairs, Rosie is already setting the day in motion. She's got a mind like a ledger, knows who paid, who didn't, who got violent last time, and who might be carrying something worse than a bad attitude. "Check their hands," she always says. "Miners with clean fingernails just got paid. The rest already spent it somewhere else."
And while we're talking dirty fingernails, make sure your hands are clean too. Hit that like button and subscribe to West Stories. It really helps us keep telling stories that matter, the ones too real for textbooks. You take your turn at the basin. The water is already murky. It smells faintly of soap and perfume, and something else, something sour. There's no fresh towel, just a cloth everyone's been using, rinsed and wrung out and used again. But you scrub anyway. You don't get clean, just clean enough. Your corset waits on the chair. It's not the lacy kind you see in paintings. It's business wear, designed to pinch the waist, boost the chest, and hide the ribs that show from too many missed meals. Sarah leans over. "Not too tight," she whispers. "Girl passed out last week. Customer thought she died. Whole house nearly burned down in the panic." The joke is grim, but you laugh. What else can you do? This life is too much if you don't find reasons to laugh. Outside, the sounds of the street are picking up. Horses, boots, shouting. Virginia City is alive now. Alive in the way mining towns always are. Loud, fast, and always 2 days from disaster.
The first customers of the day arrive before noon. Men with hands like tree bark and teeth stained by tobacco. They sit in the saloon, drink whiskey that's mostly water, and wait for one of you to catch their eye. They're not here for love. They're here to feel alive, if only for 15 minutes. You walk down the stairs with the rest of the girls, smiles painted on, cheeks rouged just enough. The room smells like dust, sweat, and desperation, but no one notices after a while. You learn to breathe through it. "Afternoon, stranger," says Lily, her voice sweet as pie. She's been here 3 years, which makes her a veteran. Most girls last 1, 2 if they're lucky, 3 if they stop feeling things.
The man at the bar doesn't smile, doesn't speak, just gestures with a flick of his hand. Rosie notices, she always does. "Mary," she calls, "take the tall one upstairs and check him first. Eyes, hands, the usual." She turns back to her ledger like she's taking inventory, and she is. Because in the Silver Queen, everything gets counted. Bodies, minutes, money, and the small chances of making it out alive. Now don't forget, if you've made it this far, we're just getting started. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for West Stories. Part 2's coming, and trust me, it gets darker from here. Back upstairs, you help Sarah patch a rip in her only dress. Her fingers are trembling. You want to ask why, but you don't. Some things stay unspoken. Instead, you thread the needle, stitch the hem, and talk about nothing. Safer that way.
Downstairs, the piano starts up. Jim's playing something cheerful, loud enough to drown out the sound of creaking beds above. There's a kind of rhythm to this place, a dance everyone knows. Even the girls who arrived yesterday already move in time. It's survival choreography. The customers don't see it. They see painted lips and low-cut dresses. They hear laughter and think it's real. But they don't see the girl with the hidden bruise or the one who hasn't eaten in 2 days. They don't want to see. Later, as the sun dips and the shadows grow long, Rosie passes out glasses of brandy. Not the cheap stuff for customers. This is different. A ritual, a toast. To getting through one more day. To making it through another day, she says.
And for just a moment, you feel something warm, real, a flicker of hope. And then it's gone. The door opens again. Another man walks in, silver in his pocket and fire in his eyes. Showtime. Never know when you'll need a nest egg. That was Madame Rosie's way of saying, don't trust tomorrow. Because in a place like this, the only certainty was uncertainty. Money gave you options, but never guarantees. A bad week, a bad customer, a bad diagnosis, and everything could vanish.
You climb the stairs with your earnings tucked into your bodice, heart pounding like it always does after accounting time. Not because you're nervous, but because that money is yours. You earned it. You survived to earn it. And that's worth something, even if it doesn't buy you everything you thought it would. As you pass Mary's door, you hear her coughing. It's quieter now, but no less worrying. She's still too pale. The medicine has dulled the worst of the symptoms, but you've seen enough to know this could go either way. You don't knock. Just pause for a moment, offer a silent thought, then keep walking. Downstairs, the saloon is slowly shifting from day to night. Lamps lit, music starting, voices rising. And like always, you feel yourself shifting too, from the person you are to the persona you need to be. A mask, a performance, a business.
This is West Stories, where we pull back the curtain on the parts of the past Hollywood loves to forget. If you're still listening, you're already part of the story. So make sure to subscribe, because the next chapter is already waiting. Tonight starts slowly. A banker from Carson City drinks quietly in the corner. A rancher asks Jenny to dance. A pair of young miners, barely men, whisper and fidget like schoolboys, unsure whether to laugh or run. You watch it all, drink in hand, reading the room like a map. "Slow night," Jim murmurs behind the bar. "Storm coming in tomorrow. Everyone's hunkering down."
Storms meant less foot traffic, but storms also meant longer visits. No one wanted to be caught in the rain, not with the cold wind that whistled through the alleyways and bit through even the thickest wool coat. It would be a long night, but not necessarily a bad one. "Fix your hair," Rosie tells you gently as she passes. "First impressions last longest." You adjust a strand, smile, turn back to the room, and there he is.
A new face, well-dressed, clean. The kind of man who doesn't belong here but comes anyway. His eyes scan the room, land on you, and stay. You cross the floor slowly, each step measured. He stands as you approach. "Evenin'," he says. "Evenin'," you reply. Same tone, same rhythm. And just like that, the conversation begins. Not with fire, but with flicker. He says his name is Thomas, that he's a lawyer out of Denver, passing through on his way to San Francisco. You hear stories like this often. Some are true, most aren't. But it doesn't matter. What matters is how he speaks to you, politely, with eyes that meet yours, not linger below. It's rare, refreshing. And still, you don't let your guard down. "Can I buy you a drink?" he asks. You smile. "Only if you're drinking too." He laughs, orders two. As Jim pours, he gives you a nod. A silent check-in. You nod back. It's fine. For now. Sarah brushes past you, heading upstairs with a man you don't recognize. She doesn't meet your eyes. Another dance begins, another transaction, another hour of pretending. But at least it's work. And work means income. Income means choice. Or the illusion of it. And speaking of choices, if you're here with us, still listening to these untold stories, go ahead and make one of your own. Hit that subscribe button. Support West Stories, where forgotten lives are finally remembered. You and Thomas talk longer than most about railroads, mining laws, the smell of sage in the Nevada wind. He tells you about his sister in St. Louis. You tell him about the bakery you'll open someday. Neither of you mentions the reality that this is temporary, that this ends like all nights here do, with coin on the table and footsteps upstairs. But when he leaves, he does so gently. No haggling, no grabbing, no assumptions. Just a smile, a tip of the hat, and a quiet thank you. The night wears on. More men, more drinks, laughter that's too loud, touches that linger too long. The kind of night where nothing terrible happens, but everything still takes its toll. Your feet ache, your smile cracks, and still you move, you talk, you endure, because that's the job. After last call, as the doors close and the lights dim, Rosie gathers everyone in the back room. "Good work tonight," she says. "No trouble, no losses. That's what I like to see." There's a pause. Then Jenny snorts. "Unless you count my last customer's cologne, that was a war crime." The room laughs. Real this time.
Back upstairs, you clean off the day. Perfume, powder, everything that made you into someone else. You soak your feet in the chipped enamel basin, sharing the water with Lily, whose knees are too sore to stand. No one complains. This is the closest you'll come to peace tonight. "Thomas was nice," you murmur. "Nice men don't come to brothels," Sarah replies from across the room, not unkindly. You shrug. Maybe she's right. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. What matters is that for one night, you got through it without pain, without fear, without loss. That's a victory.
And you know what else is a win? Subscribing to West Stories. Because every voice matters, and some deserve to finally be heard. You lie back in bed. The mattress groans beneath you. Somewhere, a dog barks. Somewhere else, a train whistles through the distant hills. You close your eyes, and just before sleep takes you, you whisper the same thing you whisper every night. Just one more day, one more night, then maybe you'll leave. Maybe. 3 months ago, you stepped into the Silver Queen, uncertain, cautious, unfamiliar with the rhythm of brothel life. Tonight, you're no longer a stranger here. You're part of the system. Another thread in the complex weave of survival and ambition that defines this place. You've learned the rituals, counted the coins, endured the nights, but you've also started to look beyond them. The lamps glow soft in the parlor. Upstairs, Sarah finishes folding the last of her belongings into a worn traveling case. She moves with quiet determination. You watch her, thinking not of the end, but of the beginning it represents. She's not just leaving a job, she's reclaiming a future. Make sure you don't miss what comes next. Subscribe to West Stories, because these stories, hidden for too long, are just getting started. Sarah's goodbye is simple. No dramatic speeches, just warm hugs, whispered promises, and a few tears quickly brushed away. Madame Rosie hands her a sealed envelope, capital for her new life, a silent investment in someone who earned her way out. Lily presses a coin into her palm, for good luck. You offer a ribbon she once admired, something small but personal. Then, the door closes. She's gone, and the house breathes differently without her. But the work doesn't stop. A new girl arrives that same afternoon, nervous, wide-eyed, clutching a bundle of clothes too thin for Nevada's early snow. You recognize her expression immediately. It's the same one you wore not long ago. And so, like Sarah did for you, you take her hand. Show her where to hide her earnings, how to spot a good customer, which buttons to undo first. Not too fast, not too slow.
"Thank you," she whispers. You just smile. "Stick around long enough," you say, "and you'll pass it on too." The Silver Queen keeps moving, as it always has. One woman out, another in. Life turns like the big wheels down at the stamp mill, steady, relentless, unmoved by sentiment. And still, the women inside it carry their own quiet revolutions. Savings tucked away, letters exchanged, dreams deferred but not forgotten. Outside, the snow has stopped. Morning sun glints off the rooftops, a fresh layer of silence. You pour yourself a coffee, staring out the window. Same town, same hills, but everything looks slightly different when you know change is possible.
There's a knock. Jim enters, holding a folded newspaper. "Ad for a school teacher in Reno," he says casually, laying it on the table. "Thought of you." You pick it up, read. Salaries not much, but the hours are decent, respectable work, and there's a boarding house included. Another path, another maybe. That's what this life teaches you, not just to survive, but to stay alert, keep options open, plan for the cracks in the system, and step through them the moment they open.
If you're still with us now, you know these weren't just stories. They were blueprints of survival, of resistance, of ambition in a world that offered women so few chances.
Subscribe to West Stories and help us keep sharing these lives that history tried to forget. Back at the Queen, business continues. The piano plays its tired tune. Glasses clink. A cowboy from Battle Mountain argues over price. Rosie settles it with a look. Another night begins. But you're not just getting through anymore. You're counting.
$12 tonight, $14 last night. Another week like this, and you'll have enough to write your own letter. Maybe to Reno, maybe to Denver, maybe to no one, and just go. You run your fingers along the seam of your mattress where your money's hidden. It's real, it's growing, it's freedom, measured not in grand gestures, but in quiet, disciplined decisions. This place once felt like the end of the road. Now it feels like a station, a temporary stop. And that shift in perspective, that's everything. Your story isn't over. Neither were theirs.
For every Sarah who made it out, there was a Jenny still deciding. For every Madame Rosie who turned a brothel into a business empire, there was someone else still hiding coins beneath the floorboards and dreaming of silk that didn't have to be bought with survival. As you dress for the evening shift, a familiar calm settles in. The makeup, the corset, the perfume, all part of the ritual. But tonight, you wear it like armor, not identity. You catch your reflection. You nod to yourself. Just one more night, and then another. One step closer.
And if you've been walking this path with us all the way to the end, we thank you. Subscribe to West Stories, where history's most hidden voices speak loudest. Because while the Silver Queen may be made of wood and gaslight and dust, the women inside it were made of steel. And steel remembers.